as long as you stay under the threshold. And so we eliminated that one, which is probably a benefit to the employees. The other one that we did, and my mind's going blank from all our Arrowhead Estates stuff. What was the other major one we did, Bonnie? I think it was the golf shop manager one. That one's a normal one. We exempt the golf shop manager because he essentially works 60, 70 hours sometimes in the summer, and then when the golf shop is not open in the winter, he flexes all that comp time.
The other one is they couldn't comp on-call hours.
Oh, we have,
And then the police one we capped for training time.
yep, training time is when we send somebody off to the academy. They accrue a lot of hours there because of the nature of getting through the academy. And then we let them utilize that and go above and beyond the normal cap in kind of that first time period when they get on the force. Usually they take maybe a week or 2 or 3 off after they come back, and then they start into their FTO process. But the on-call time is usually we try to have them flex that. So if I'm on call this week and I have the on-call phone, we give you 2 hours pursuant to the handbook. Usually they try to flex that so we don't have added hours. If they're not able to flex it and they have to work their full 40 hours, they get paid out 2 hours at regular time, not overtime. They used to sometimes comp those hours. Now they don't. It just, again, computer can't figure it out. The system just won't do it. And so we've removed that. You just get paid out. So nothing too substantial, but without making these handbook changes, we can't get through the process of fully utilizing that system. And we kind of knew that for probably the last year, but we're ready, as we'll see in the next one, to move on to that software system now. And so we had to make these 2 minor changes.
Thanks, Greg. Any questions or comments from the council, or are you entertaining a motion?
Move to approve the amendment.
Second.
The motion and a second, please call the roll.
Back, Hendricks,
Yes.
Camper,
Yes.
Singleton.
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Alderman.
Yes.
Wilkins. Motion carried.
Item number 9, software professional services agreement with G-Works for the purchase and support of payroll time and attendance module.
Yes, this is essentially what I just talked about. This is the new payroll time and attendance module. It's already built into our G-Works Summit Simple City system, but we've never utilized it. Now we'll be able to utilize this module within that system. It'll incorporate right into our accounting then, and it will give a lot more information to us as administration and also to the employees. Again, accurate running tallies of vacation, sick leave, as you're accruing it. They will be able to time in and time out right on their phones, on a computer desktop. When they're coming in for overtime, if they get called in, just pop on their phone and head out and go right to the site. When you're done working on the site, you can time back out, and it does all of these incredible computations and ask you certain questions about what you're working on and doing. And so we're, again, this will take a lot of the legwork that's being done right now by Julie and Bonnie and Nick, where they're manually having to go through and do all this math and follow up on things and track down people. It's going to alleviate a lot of those issues after some growing pains, I'm sure. And then ultimately we'll also put it in the hands directly if there's an issue of the department head, so that administration is not having to go through and fix all these things. It buzzes a message immediately to the department head and says, hey, got a payroll person, they didn't clock out yesterday, you need to go address that, and they go take care of it for us. So we don't have to chase them down when it comes time for payroll 2 weeks later.
Thanks, Greg. Any questions or comments from the council, or are you entertaining a motion?
I got a question.
Yes. Go ahead.
So Greg, if they clock in, like on overtime, does it verify it through a GPS that they're actually on the job?
There may be the other, ultimately with most of our overtime ones, just like on the current system, all the overtime has to be verified by their superior. So right now, like on their timesheets, I require them to both list what they did. So if they were like, tree fell on an electrical line on 4th Street, they put that down in there, and then the department had actually initial that that's exactly what they did for that amount of time. This thing will pop a notice when the timesheet goes to the department head, and they will have to check off on that overtime that it was valid. Yeah, they can't just be like, oh, sitting at home watching the Monday Night Football, I'll just time in here real quick.
Track them like.
Yep.
We're not there yet. Any other
Maybe
questions? Otherwise, you're entertaining a motion?
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Back, Hendricks,
Yes.
Camper.
Yes.
Singleton.
I just have one thing, because I know it's getting late, and I have there's quite a bit in my report. The new DHMs came out, and they've been modified already since I last saw you, so there's another new DHM. This one, if you didn't see with the governor, it has the thresholds based on the number of beds that are being occupied by COVID patients, and different thresholds. The orange threshold is 20%, the red threshold is 25%. As it relates to this body, the one question that the mayor asked me to ask was, right now under the orange threshold, if somebody were quarantined or tested positive for COVID-19, you could participate in the meeting electronically. So we could put you on a computer on Zoom or have you teleconference in with a cell phone or something, and you could actively participate and vote in the meeting. When it hits red, which is the 25% threshold of beds occupied, then we can technically go back by governor's order and go back to a completely electronic one. And I shared that with the mayor, and because we need, from a planning perspective, we need to know what the preference of the council is if we were to hit those thresholds, so that we can plan accordingly. Bonnie has to put the agenda out, and if we move to a Zoom format again, we have to put the Zoom information in the agenda notice. Or at least adjust it or amend it, things like that. The other one is my preference is maybe a one-off, where we can put a cell phone out or something and they can listen in and then talk on like a speakerphone. I don't want to have like if people want it, we can. Then I have 6 different phones sitting around the table, because some people do and don't. Some people are on video, some people are not. I kind of a one-off is fine if we have a member that's having an issue and you're okay with that. And then if you're gonna give anything more on that one, when it hits the other threshold, my recommendation is all or nothing. Because it's too much technical work for us to be able to do that. So if you want to, we would just move to Zoom based on your recommendation if we go over that 25. So that's what I have. It's not really a discussion item, I wanna put it in your head. I don't mean to be doom and gloom, but there is the potential with the way that the numbers are trending. It sounded like hospitalizations were kind of evening out for the first time today and flattening off. But on my unified command call, the one thing they did note is they're being like massively overrun for staffing. And they can't accurately move staff. If somebody works in the heart surgery area, they are not able to have them fully work and be utilized in the COVID trauma or whatever. And then that's what the explanation that was being had by Roger and then the other hospital executive directors is that's their biggest struggle right now, is trying to transition those people to utilize them. And so staffing continues to be their biggest concern. Hopefully the hospitalizations will kind of trend themselves off, but anything's possible. So I want to bring that to your attention. I don't know, maybe some discussion, but without making a vote, and then we can bring something formal to you if you need to adopt I mean, we didn't really adopt anything last time we did it, we just did it.
I think, my opinion is if we get into the red, just as a, way to protect ourselves and the public, we probably should think about doing Zoom. I'm not saying you absolutely have to, but the reality is if we're in that red zone, some of us could be exposed and maybe shouldn't be out and about.
That's kind of our preference, just because we've done it before.
Right.
We know kind of how that works. It's not a perfect system, but, to Greg's point, it's hard to do a hybrid. So it's from a technological standpoint, we kind of have to go all in or not. We're not there yet, but we just wanted you to be aware that you're not surprised because we can hit that threshold right before the next meeting, and, we don't want you to be surprised that this is what's going on. So that's why you say just put this kind of bug in your ear so that you understand. If it continues to trend the way it has been, that's a very real possibility. Okay, Greg, anything else?
That's all I have, unless anybody has any questions about our report.
Questions for Greg? Otherwise, entertain a motion to accept his report.
Second?
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Garrett, Heather,
Yes.
Cameron,
Yes.
Singleton.
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Give me future requests for council agenda items or administrative action. Seeing none. Jonathan, what's
Yes.
coming up?
Thank you, Mayor.
So upcoming, we do have our 10th annual Christmas festival that is still on schedule. We're really taking as many precautions as possible, and we've been in partnership with Four Corners Health Department to make sure we're keeping people safe. We're planning to do the reverse parade. We've been working with the police department. They've been really helpful to make sure that we're thinking about traffic. We usually have about 5,000 people come downtown, so we're not going to do that. We're moving the location, and we'll have some announcements on that the week of. And would encourage you to help promote that accordingly so we can bring in the holiday season together. Wanted to say thank you for the support and promotion of the Stay Open, Stay Healthy marketing campaign in partnership with Memorial Healthcare System. Specifically, thanks to the mayor for participating, representing the city on the video. Would encourage you to share that. Again, just trying to pass the word to avoid those 3 C's that the governor's been promoting. And would ask that you would promote that among your constituents. And as always, it's the holiday shopping season. Encourage you to promote those, shop local as much as possible. And then lastly, Zane's going to give a brief impact for the grants that all the programs that we've been helping promote. I think this is a good opportunity to see the total impact and I think some good news to share here for the support we've been able to help businesses with. So Zane?
Yeah, so 2 points, data just came out last week. Seward received $991,000 in CARES Act funding. The county received a little over $2.5 million. So you're sitting pretty good. The Four Corners region were the highest receiving grant. So very good for our businesses.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Next we have a strategy session with city attorney to provide negotiation guidance concerning real estate interests. Is there a motion from the council?
I move that the city council go into closed session with the mayor, the city administrator, and the city attorney for the protection of the public interest to discuss real estate interests and provide the city attorney with negotiating guidance for a period not to exceed
Let's go 10.
10 minutes.
You have a motion, is there a second?
Third.
Please call the roll.
Jack? Kendrick?
Yes.
Cameron?
Yes.
Singleton?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
The council has voted to go into closed session for protection of the public interest, to discuss real estate interests, and to provide the city attorney with negotiating guidance. We are in closed session. Thank you
No.
all for coming this evening.
No action will be taken.
And no action will be taken.